Overview: what a woman's hug actually implies. The majority of guys are unaware of it. They sense the woman encircles them with her arms while thinking, "Oh, it's just a pleasant, harmless embrace." But what if I told you that it's never a simple embrace? Every touch, she lingers for every tiny squeeze. All of this indicates something that women don't do. Things at random, and if you don't know to these subliminal clues that you're using, she's playing 4D chess and checkers. In this video, I, James, will disclose the 6 psychological cues that are buried, what most men don't see behind a woman's hug entirely. Miss, and if you believe this to be, think again. It's not simply about attraction. An embrace can be a test at times. Sometimes it's a silent power maneuver. A statement to the world about your identity. To the Stoics, understood the strength of viewpoint. They recognized that the majority of men wander through life without realizing what's occurring around them, responding instead of becoming proficient in their reality. Unless you teach yourself to see past the obvious, read between the words, you are at the mercy of forces on the surface. You don't even trust me or recognize me. In the modern world, ignorance has a cost. So fasten your seatbelts, because by the end of this video, you won't view a hug in the same way. Once again, before we get in, do not hesitate to subscribe if you are prepared to change the way you manage relationships. Utilizing Stoicism's strength in each video is a step in the direction of mental mastery and constructing more robust and significant relationships. She's trying to gauge your confidence, and you're unaware of it when a woman, she's not just giving you a hug. Love, she's looking at you like this isn't a predator assessing its prey. It's a quiet test, but it's just a loving embrace. Method to determine the type of man you actually. The majority of men are totally unaware about this belief that an embrace is merely an embrace, but women function at a different level. As she envelops you in her arms, she is secretly gathering intelligence. Agent on a quest who is examining your body language, your vitality, and do you freeze like a deer in response? She's putting your confidence to the test. Do headlights make you look weak and uncomfortable? Give her a back pat as if you were burping. Do you stand your ground, baby? Embrace her effortlessly, like a man who understands his worth, noting that the same idea is applied in consider high AK social contacts. During a job interview, they will casually provide you with a glass of water. You could believe it to be merely hospitality, yet they're observing how you manage yourself, how composed and stable your hands are. You stay, it's a micro-test, similar to her embrace, and this is the harsh reality, a uncertain and hesitating reaction signals. Women are programmed to detect vulnerability. A man who hesitates or second-guesses someone, becomes rigid, or overthinks a simple hug is a warning sign for her. However, subconsciously, a man who is at ease with himself, who accepts the moment with ease, confidence instantly establishes himself. However, this is where the Stoic attitude comes in. Arrives, a Stoic man doesn't respond depending on he doesn't feel nervous or insecure. Overanalyze or seek approval in how he just is present, she replies. Firmly rooted in himself. As soon as you begin looking for acceptance in a gesture as simple as a hug, you already lost, and she's having mental health issues. Notes, and if you're aware of it, she has already learned more about that hug. You're more than words could possibly express. Assessing your emotional responsiveness. Without your knowledge, this is where things become more complex. A hug is more than just a physical embrace. Interaction. It's a silent emotional scan test to gauge your character as a man. On the inside, women are experts at detecting energy, and during those brief moments of touch, she's sensing you in many ways. Most males don't even think about it. Similar to tapping on a wall to check whether it's She wraps her arms in a solid or hollow manner. She's not simply hugging you around you. She's trying to gauge your emotional stability. Anchored, or is there a void? Do you radiate warmth underneath and presence? Or does the feeling of your energy? Are you completely immersed in the chilly and aloof? Do you feel your body there at that moment? While your thoughts are elsewhere, does your embrace exude strength, and do you feel in control or hesitant? She is uncertain if she can detect women's almost extraordinary capacity to read between the lines, to gauge the expressive power of words. Within seconds, she's taking up on specifics you may not even be aware of. Your posture is revealing your grasp, how breathing changes with each tiny element that informs her evaluation of you. And this is the harsh reality if you feel emotionally or distractedly empty. Closed off, she'll notice it right away. She's assessing your capability to feel. The majority of men believe they can hide their false confidence combined with fears, yet the ACT is not visible to a woman's intuition. If emotional baggage is something you're carrying, your thoughts are clouded by tension, or if you've lost your sense of masculinity, your core will betray you through your body language. At this point, Stoicism divides the Stoic man doesn't draw strength from the weak. Let his feelings to rule him, but that does not indicate that he is emotionally unavailable. In fact, he is focused, in the moment, and completely in charge of. He doesn't feel desperate for himself. Link, and he is not isolated, just grounded. He lives in the present, not preoccupied with the past or worried about. When he embraces in the future, it's not out of obligation or neediness. It's because he decides to participate, and women believe that they admire it and find it appealing. Ultimately, a hug is more than it's a silent gesture, nothing more. Dialogue, and if you're unsure about what as you speak, you're already at a drawback 3. She's establishing the stage for a physical encounter with her. This is a significant term, and the majority of men ignore it entirely when a lady extends an embrace. She's not merely being amiable, she's not just saying hi. She is taking charge of the bodily dynamic between you. Consider it as she is inviting you to a party she is throwing. Her space, but she's the one who wants it. Establishing the guidelines that control the flow of choosing how much or little occurs. It's her subtly conveying that I'm all right with being around you, but don't err, I choose how this unfolds. Similar idea to what happens when someone allows you into their house. They could have enough faith in you to enter, but they continue to have environmental control. Where you sit, how long do you stay there? Hold on to that hug. She's making a frame of authority over a physical relationship, but this is where the majority of males make mistakes. Ignore the boundaries that are not explicitly stated. They either signal for too long or an embarrassing display of desperation or over-eagerness released too soon, displaying a lack of clarity and a lack of self-assurance misinterpreted for the entire moment, i.e. the freeze or getting so combative every little. Something you do in that instant informs her about yourself and how you manage physical intimacy. How conscious are you? Are related to social dynamics, and the majority of crucially if you're a man who either one who leads naturally or one who foolishly. She's creating the conditions for a physical bond, follows a weak man and waits for the determine his answer. He overthinks, tries to read or doubts himself. Rather of being grounded, her response within his own presence of a man who is stoic, however, doesn't look for physical approval. He stays in contact because he doesn't need it composed, unmoved, and completely. He respects and is at ease in his own flesh. Her space, but he isn't compelled to comply with her frame. Instead, he encounters her vitality with tranquil assurance, preserving the ideal equilibrium between assertiveness as well as restraint. And believe me, women take note. Things they may be unable to clarify, but they sense it. Ultimately, this is not just about a hug. It's a dynamic power, delicate yet crucial moment in which she's determining the precise type of man are you aware and focused, or are you? You might be easily lured by any frame she settings that teach you a lot about how a woman gives you a hug, but more significantly, she's getting to know you well. Hey, I'd want to hear from you as well. Inquire if you have ever had an embrace from a woman and simply understood what that meant. Perhaps it was that electric relationship, or perhaps it abandoned you pondering the true situation. Please leave a remark here and share her thoughts. What do you think of this, me? The manner a woman embraces you conveys a message regarding her goals or feelings, and if you feel brave, write this in your "I sensed the energy." Please let me know have you ever gone through that change, that moment of communication via something as easy as a hug? I'll be answering. Don't be shy, because some of your remarks. Let's get this discussion started. 4. She's feeling your body. Let's be completely honest about chemistry. When a female embraces you, she's not merely being kind, she's sensing your presence in several ways. You may not even be aware that something is uncooked. A chemical test in biology, but one that is not related to beakers and formulas. It all comes down to how you feel. On a visceral level, she believes. Think of it like cooking. You're getting ready to plate, and eventually you take a tiny taste. You don't merely mindlessly adhere to the recipe that you use your senses to determine whether the flavors nicely complement one another. That little bite or sip is the time of, actually, does it accomplish anything, or is it working? Feel weird. The same thing occurs when you hug someone. Do your bodies align naturally? Feel at ease like two halves of a? Does the puzzle lock into place? Feel rigid, as if you're attempting to push? When something doesn't fit, does it? Does she find smell appealing or repulsive? She can sense the physical chemistry between you. You may not even be aware of it, but your modest sense can have a big impact. Warmth has a part in attraction. The feel of an electrifying hug, and does it feel alive and chemistry-filled? Like though you're simply going through the gestures, such as embracing a lamp pole without no connection. Women are extremely sensitive to energy, and in a moment all of this is being processed by her body like a supercomputer in the distance, scanning, assessing, and analyzing. It is felt that the physical chemistry is not considered the possibility that she might not even aware that she's doing it purposefully, but believe me, her body is aware of this location. If you're not sure, things become real, yourself, if you're uncomfortable or uneasy. She'll notice that your physique is talking even when your mouth is closed. That hesitancy, that stiffness, that silence is more powerful than any words you might use. Say that it lets her know you're uncomfortable, that you're still comfortable in your own skin, looking for approval but not sure of your location on earth. Now contrast that with a man based on Stoicism, values he doesn't look for approval of from her touch or from the embrace. His presence is unwavering, and unwavering as a rock. He doesn't require to read into the situation or impress her. He simply is, and the distinction is, the chemistry isn't pushed right away. His physique and energy are naturally harmoniously, and she senses that nearly more deeply. At the subconscious level, recall attraction is a physical game as well as a mental one. It's primal and honest, and she's embracing you and making sure there's something there that goes beyond simply surface-level appeal, and the manner in which you react to her bodily contact with that connectivity will dictate how your capacity connection. It's not just your imagination. At times, it all comes down to how you feel in the instant that your energy and her hug is a test of your sincerity. Self, rather than the one you're attempting to sell, will decide whether that spark either ignites or extinguishes before it even could have been a Stoic man. But he doesn't. He doesn't require the chemistry of chase or force. To create appeal, it is, or it isn't, and he accepts that knowledge, fully aware that his value is independent of on the result that gives assurance that a self-assured yet distant presence is precisely what makes him alluring. 5. She is silently communicating with everyone else. Okay, we're going to get into the situation's true psychology. In public, a woman's embrace is not simply a loving moment, it's a declaration, a subdued yet potent signal. To everyone observing, consider it a status update, a discreet announcement to the she's giving others a quiet message planet that claims this individual is a member of, he is an important person in my close circle, in my life, and I would like you to be aware of it. But this is where the hug becomes intense itself, which is the fine print, where the actual communication is encoded, and, believe me, she isn't embracing you merely to be kind, as she's communicating with the anyone in her immediate vicinity without uttering a word. A brief, informal embrace is a symptom of friendship is neutral and innocuous, similar to a just enough to demonstrate a courteous handshake. She is aware of you, but nothing more. Now that we're chatting, embrace is longer and warmer. This might indicate that there's more. It can be a deeper level beneath the surface. Relationship, or it might be her method of stating that I value this man without simply saying it aloud. It resembles the way a cat rubs. It's not simply being against your leg. Adorable, it's claiming its territory. Informing the world without using words, a term in which you are unique, whether she is aware of it or not. Or not, her nonverbal cues are a statement in silence, and that's where you as a man must comprehend the power forces at work. This goes beyond. The embrace itself is about your carrying style. Yourself at that time and how it works for you into your status's overall image. If you're uncertain or uncomfortable in her environment, message is lost if you are very attached. But if you remain steadfast, unflinching, and in charge of. When the message is clear and loud, you, from the standpoint of Stoicism, this is where Stoic self-mastery comes in. Man doesn't require approval from the around him. He doesn't look for the Stoic person demands attention or approval. Strategy is about being happy with who, regardless of the outside, you are. When the hug arrives, you don't feel validated. To investigate it, since you already recognize your value in the eyes of the world. Being judged does not define who you are, centered inside oneself, and that's what makes you strong. But the important thing here is not to disregard the Stoic man's signal. Recognizes that life is full of indications, and just because he doesn't pursuit of them does not imply that he is blind to. He reads the room and doesn't allow them to. When a lady hugs you, it affects his core. She is quietly establishing your position within her, the globe, and at that very instant, your capacity to remain serene, calm, and mindful when speaking reveals a lot about your actual status in the actual attraction is more than just your feelings. It's regarding how others view you, and how you decide to give that hug is a glimpse of that dynamic awareness of the communication you're making and you're getting 6 messages. She is creating a memory that you will both cherish, making a memory that both of you will cherish. Let's look more closely at something now that is frequently disregarded but holds enormous strength. The embrace is more than just a simple gesture that captures a moment in time. When a woman gives you a hug, she's not just holding you, freezing a moment in time through capture now in order for it to become something that both of you will take with you. Whether you know it or not, it's similar to capturing a mental image, but not like any image you've ever captured. In place of taking a picture of her, sealing in her, experiencing a surge of feelings and kinship, things will reverberate in your heads for a long time. Once the time is over, you may not even be aware of it, but her mind is capturing every nuance and detail of later. She's going to embrace, mentally relive that embrace. She'll think about it and pose questions to herself. Did she feel the same way? Did my heart race? Ignite the adrenaline rush that includes real chemistry? Was there a strong bond that transcended? Did the physical contact feel natural? The moment with ease, as though the two of, did you do it, or was it intended for you to share? Feel uncomfortable, as if trying to coerce, did I want something that wasn't there? Was it a brief encounter, or was it to last longer? A quick embrace is important, since a moment that she wishes to extend is a brief that is true. Importance of these tangible recollections are strong and not merely transient. Whether she acknowledges it or not, they make a mark. Or not, such as the aroma of fresh-baked cookies can transport you to, a hug can transport you back to a simpler time, as a catalyst that returns her to a pivotal point in her feelings for you going forward. But the problem is that you can't rely on these moments alone, man. To naturally occur in the red pill, you are aware that nothing in this world is simple. Additionally, you absolutely do not wait for you make things to fall into your lap. You have your own special moments that endure, that issue that she will recall, and a lady who associates with you doesn't merely give a hug that reveals her heart, chooses when and with whom to disclose these fragments of her under your authority. If she wishes to keep you in mind, similar to how you recall her from a Stoic standpoint, this is where intentionality and self-awareness come into play. You don't become enmeshed in the moment's emotional swings. However, you are aware that everything is a lesson chance. When you're there in that embrace, you're not considering how it makes you feel, as though you're concentrating on how she's feeling. The Stoic man, thanks to you, recognizes that he's not looking for outside confirmation, but that doesn't imply that he disregards the cues life gives him. This embrace is not an act of randomness toward him. It's a deliberate moment of connection. These are not desired by the Stoic intellect. It embraces them at those moments when the important thing is to understand that every word, every interaction, every action bears weight that embraces that split. The second is that physical contact is a strong signal, and for you, it goes beyond. What you're experiencing right now is about how you maintain your composure and how you employ the time to support the man you desire to be, not only for her, but also for personally. If you're the kind of dude who can utilize these opportunities to bolster your self-esteem without allowing others to define you, will reveal that these time capsules are going to include growing in frequency and so forth. Mental image, recalling how sensations in your presence will remain. You don't realize how long you've had her. In conclusion, a embrace is a test, not just a hug, a glimpse and an essential component of how you put yourself in her shoes and in her thoughts. Make the most of your life now that you have a greater comprehension of what a woman's hugs can actually signify. Let's do something more. If you discovered this very perceptive, you should check the video that appears on your screen, 29 Startling Psychological. I promise you, there are a ton of facts regarding women, with further psychological understanding that will enable you to view the female world in a completely different light. So click now. Oh, I'll see you over there on that video. Additionally, remember to like this video. For more, please subscribe to our channel. Things like this that are eye-opening. Thanks for observing.